Hey, crypto traders, checking in on this space. We've got Bitcoin with a few red flags for the bulls, just indicating that some potential consolidation may be coming our way. I'll show you what those signals are. And then we're going to look at the altcoin bulls, which continue to run a few at a time. But there's also some clues from the altcoin space that we can apply to Bitcoin as far as determining what are the most likely scenarios in the short term. So looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we keep the higher lows going. We just set a more recent higher low at 43.7 thousand, a bull break with a lack of follow through. We talked about that our last video where it was only about 3% of follow through. Another daily higher low formed over the weekend, and now we have a double top. So the indications for me that have me cautious are, number one, on the weekly time frame, from this recent low at 29,000, we have now seen a run of 60% plus. That to me is a little bit extended. So 65% move has me watching for weekly consolidation. So that's the scaffolding of the trade. Then I look at the details. Okay, what am I seeing? Well, we had a 4-hour rising wedge that I was keeping an eye on, and it did end up breaking bear, but with very little follow through. And that bear break resulted, here's that confirmed downtrend with a 4-hour lower high and lower low. And then it broke bull. So that's a downtrend with zero follow through, which means zoom out and scout a bull flag. So the 12-hour held EMA 12 support yet again, and then we double topped at resistance. So we could essentially call this an equilibrium forming right now. High of the move, low of the pullback, and this is now the most important support level for me in the short term, 45.5 thousand. There's our double top, and here we are heading down into support. So if these bulls are going to prove to us, no, we're fine. We don't need any consolidation. We have to see a clear bull break of 48,200 essentially with follow through. Can't just be a bull break with 1, 2, 3% follow through. We need that 5, 6, 7% follow through to be convincing. So on the 4-hour, let's go back to the 12-hour. There's now a rising wedge on the 12-hour time frame. So that's another thing that has me a bit cautious. Yes, rising wedges can break bullish, but after a 65% bull move, in my opinion, the probabilities are there that have us watching for the potential that they break bearish. And this is where I would be drawing that uptrend support line. And if I wanted to drop it a little bit, we could still be touching that level right now, but we can see things are a bit extended, but also a bit tight. So it's all about that 45.5 level. And if that breaks, we zoom out because weekly consolidation will then be shaping up. And I'll be watching the EMAs for a back test of support. Ideally, the bulls hold those weekly EMAs, but we have to start consolidating first before we look at that. So those are a few factors. There's more. The broader market. So let's look at SPY in a second. Let's look at Bitcoin. How did we start the day here at 9:30? What happened at 9:30? Bear volume started increasing and we dropped hard. So 9:30 on the dot, and the drop from that point into that low through the morning was a 2.3% drop over the span of 2 hours. What was the S&P 500 doing this morning? It dropped all morning until about 11:30, and really it was QQQ that was the weaker version. There's your big drop on QQQ. We bottomed out around 11, and then we changed the 5-minute trend bullish at 11:30, and you can see the bounces following through from here. So if we look at Bitcoin, 5-minute time frame, again, we bottomed at 11:30. This is when QQQ changed the 5-minute trend, and we've been bouncing with it. We're looking for an hourly lower high to be the result of this bounce. At this point in time, it's a potential hourly bear flag. And I can say we have a bit of a bearish correlation to QQQ because at this moment, QQQ is at the high of its bounce, and at this moment, Bitcoin just formed a 15-minute lower high, unable to break the high of its bounce. So it's doing something very similar to QQQ, but it is a bit weaker. I'm looking at QQQ that just confirmed a daily downtrend with a lack of follow through, but weekly consolidation is now underway. So if we were to see more red this week in the broader stock market, just seeing this morning the correlation and how it impacts the cryptocurrency space, that could be another reason for some downside pressure on Bitcoin. And again, these are all ifs, right? The bears have to prove it. The burden of proof is on the bears in the short term. And they keep setting up recently for the bears to say, okay, it looks like we're about to pull back. And then the bulls show up and save things. But in my opinion, we will see that shift soon. The dominance chart is due for a bounce. Here's another factor. So the dominance chart is due for a bounce. Yes, it can keep dropping, absolutely. But we have seen a 12-hour drop at this point, pretty much a waterfall drop into oversold conditions. And looking back, we can say, yes, it definitely can get more beat up on the 12-hour, but we know that we're watching for a bounce to cool off RSI levels on these longer-term time frames. And it's been a daily waterfall drop at this point for a week straight. How will this chart bounce? There's two ways. This chart bounces by Bitcoin going up and going up faster than all altcoins. And this is showing us that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin over the last week to the upside. So that has to change suddenly. And in my opinion, the only way that changes is with notable news. Because otherwise, if Bitcoin makes a bull break of that double top, the altcoins are going to be doing it more exaggerated, faster. Or the cryptocurrency space drops. And because the altcoins have been running so hard over the last couple of weeks, they drop faster than Bitcoin, leading to a dominance bounce. In my opinion, that is the more likely scenario as to how the dominance chart will bounce from here. So that's another little tally saying be cautious and be watching for consolidation. So at this point, I have exited a third of my monthly swing positions, exited that over the weekend, and I am going to look to potentially trim a little bit more here as this hourly bear flag is shaping up. And I will look to add back and potentially add more on a weekly higher low from here. ETH/USD, also looking pretty darn toppy up here. And again, it's just bulls running out of momentum, unable to break, unable to see much follow through. Ethereum has not been one of the stronger altcoins recently. It's the smaller cap altcoins that have been running harder. We had a little 4-hour rising wedge here. Don't really like how that came into play, but we could draw a 12-hour one just like we did on Bitcoin. And you can see just the higher highs here slowing down. And the most recent one, we topped out at 33.33 and we only broke it by $8. And I like the rising wedge better on Bitcoin, but I would draw something like this on Ethereum. And again, it's just looking at the weekly chart and saying, okay, massive move from the lows. We are not going to be surprised when weekly consolidation happens. It's been almost 100% move. So if the bears are going to prove it on Ethereum, a break of 31.12 would be convincing as far as double topping at resistance and then breaking our most recent support. I'm also watching the daily EMA 12s. And if we lose the daily EMA 12 for the first time on this run, again, on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, that will be notable to us as far as a shift in momentum. More clues we can look for. We've been seeing great bounces off of oversold conditions. So if we see an hourly oversold bounce on Bitcoin that starts to lack follow through. So here was an hourly oversold bounce and it looked like a bear flag. The bear flag confirmed with zero follow through. And you can see the hourly RSI is not really getting very oversold. If we see the hourly RSI get oversold, we see a bounce and then we drop to a lower low. That will tell me this time it's different. Because again, we aren't dropping to lower lows once these hourly bounces start. That marks a clear pivot point on a longer term time frame, whether it's the 12-hour or the 4-hour. So there are clues in the size and the strength of the bounces on some of these time frames. I'm going to be watching for first 4-hour oversold conditions if the bears do show up in the next few days. And we'll see how first 4-hour oversold from this entire run takes shape. And we did get real close to it, but some of these altcoins have not gotten close to 4-hour oversold. Ethereum is one of them. We haven't hit 4-hour oversold since 1700. So again, that's going to be something I'm watching for if 31.12 support were to break. It's also possible that we trade within a tightening range into tomorrow, and it's going to require more time to play out. Let's say we hold 31.12 on a test and then bounce and form a lower high. We can trade sideways for a bit here while things tighten up. ETH/BTC, 12-hour saw a bull break with no follow through. We're extremely tight here. Look at the daily time frame for ETH/BTC. This is the tightest range, and we've been within this range now for 7 days. This is the tightest range that we've been in over a 7-day period in a long time. It's probably been since April. So that is 4 months of the tightest range that we've seen. What does that tell me? Volatility is incoming. So if volatility is incoming, and we've already gone 95%, what direction is the most likely scenario for a volatility spike? And again, in my opinion, unless there is a news catalyst it's to the downside after a 95% run. And we're grinding daily EMA 12, trying to keep it up for the bulls here. And again, it would be a bull break. I don't want to confuse people, but ETH BTC breaking bull would be, no, it would be a bear break. Okay, I just confused myself. ETH BTC breaking bear from here would indicate that ETH is weaker than Bitcoin, and that could show us ETH dropping faster than Bitcoin if the cryptocurrency space is consolidating. So that's another thing to be watching for. If we see the bear break and loss of the daily EMA 12 on the ETH BTC pairing, Litecoin, slow grind up, but it's been a solid move. Again, there is an rising uptrend resistance line. We've got a support line here that's more of a channel to be watching. We're right on top of that support right now. Daily time frame, we'll be watching EMA 12. And it's different here in the sense that we can pull back. Anything above 160 is a daily high or low. So we could pull back here 10% and still be in a daily uptrend. But you can't pull back 10% on Ethereum nor Bitcoin and still be in a daily uptrend. You're going to lose those daily high or lows. So Litecoin, we're going to be watching daily EMA 12 and anything above 160.83 as a daily high or low. But again, watching for daily consolidation to shape up here. The LTC BTC chart has been great. And again, highlighting recently, I think it was on Twitter where I posted it, but just the falling wedge, how it was very similar here to here. And the falling wedge broke bull, and I need a daily trend change. This has just been a bull break and go. And that's great for the bulls, but the last time we saw the bull break and go, we did have trend changes and uptrend along the way. So we will need a higher low and higher high if this is going to be a longer term move and not just, a 1 week shift in momentum. So we're watching for LTC BTC to potentially consolidate as well. It's been a pattern of a higher low every day for the last 7 days. When that pattern breaks, it means Litecoin is weaker than Bitcoin, which means either Bitcoin is outrunning Litecoin to the upside or Litecoin is dropping faster than Bitcoin to the downside. Sol USDT stealing the show today and yesterday as well. Just a massive blue sky breakout bull now and a huge move. Congrats to the bulls. Definitely keeping, the profits rotating and keeping confidence in the overall market, in the overall sector. Hourly EMA 12 support. Anything above 60.38 is an hourly high or low. Getting a couple tops up here right around 69. But again, we got a lot of time frames where we can just form a higher low. We'll be watching for first 5-minute oversold conditions for a back burner trade off this new all-time high. And we'll certainly be watching for first hourly oversold conditions with so much space on the 4-hour and the daily to form a higher low. So SOL bulls are saying, great, consolidate crypto. That doesn't matter. We have tons of space to maintain strength and form daily higher lows. We know daily consolidation is inevitable, and bulls are obviously positioned very well for any consolidation at this point. And looking at the hourly chart, we can see SOL BTC is correlated directly. This is the spotlight. They're doing the exact same thing. You can't tell which chart I'm looking at here when I change, and that's what you want to see as a bull. Just tick for tick, doing the same thing, consistently outperforming Bitcoin. Link USD. So Link got another leg up here on the daily time frame, the weekly chart. Again, significant. There are names out there like Link that are not in weekly uptrends. We're coming straight off the low, and at this point, we've gone over 100%. So again, it's just a bit of euphoria up at these levels. 100% move with no weekly consolidation. We know it's inevitable eventually, but these Link bulls have nice space for a 4-hour higher low, anything above 25.88. Hourly is a potential little bear flag here as well, similar to Bitcoin. So if we see a bear break of 28.89, 4-hour consolidation underway to look for a higher low, and we'll watch EMA 12 support there. Daily EMA 12 is a great guide. You want to keep it simple. So many of these altcoins, so many of these individual names, it's just all about daily EMA 12 and whether or not the bulls are able to maintain that level and keep this run going. Because when daily EMA 12 is lost, that's a very significant indication that weekly consolidation is underway. Link BTC, nice bull break of daily resistance, confirming a daily trend change. Space for a 4-hour higher low here as well. And definitely correlated, not as tick for tick correlated as SOL, Let's see if we can tell the difference in these charts. It's a bit different. AXS USDT, daily bull flag attempt. So inside bars broke bear with no follow through. Then we tried to confirm the bull flag. And if we drop down and break 63 from here, that for me is going to be a sign of bulls losing some momentum. A break of 63 will have me watching for weekly consolidation to potentially shape up. And looking at it on the 4-hour chart, bulls need to confirm this 4-hour trend change. So if we hold 63 and break 71, the 4-hour trend change is confirmed, and the daily bull flag will continue trying to confirm. But if we drop down from here and break 63, you can essentially say, okay, bull flag attempt, failed to break resistance, and then broke support. So that's a clear short-term level of 63 that the bulls want to pay attention to and need to hold. And AXS BTC, it's doing the same thing, so no clues there. There are sometimes we get clues where the BTC pairing shows us weakness before the US dollar pairing, but that's not the case here. We're just trading sideways on the 4-hour, and again, trying to follow through with the daily bull flag, but just slowing down a little bit. So those are all my reasons for potential weakness and watching for consolidation. What's the other side? What would be an indication of potential continuation? Well, the more names that do what SOL is doing, and Fade is having a great day, the more names that stand out running, then the more confidence the bulls have in the sector as a whole. And, you know, a bull holding Litecoin is looking at SOL and saying, I hope I'm next, and I'm going to keep holding in case we get our pump next. And that builds confidence, and it keeps bulls confident and hopeful. So that's something to be watching for. The broader market, the S&P 500 and QQQ. You know, what if QQQ gives us a daily confirmed downtrend, which we did today, and then a V-shape to all-time highs? Well, that's a weekly bull flag and a new all-time high, and the broader market would stay just fine. The burden of proof is absolutely on the bears in the broader market, and it's on the bears in the cryptocurrency space as well. So if we see a new all-time high in QQQ from here in the next few days, then there's going to be a lack of fear. There was fear this morning in QQQ, but look at that V-shaped bounce. Bitcoin is not benefiting from that V-shaped bounce nearly as much as it dropped to the downside on that fear. But again, if there's no fear in the broader market, then that's out the window as far as a downward pressure reason for consolidation. Another thing would be if the Bitcoin dominance chart just keeps dropping. We've seen these RSI levels get extreme, more extreme than stocks or cryptocurrencies generally will get. Maybe we see another few red days here, and the daily RSI drops down to 25. That would be a possibility as well. And that would just tell me altcoins are continuing to run stronger to the upside than Bitcoin is, but things are holding on overall. And last, as far as what Bitcoin would need to show me, simple statement, if Bitcoin is holding 45.5 thousand, the bulls have nothing to worry about, because that's 12-hour higher lows, and that keeps us right within the striking distance of that double top. So 45 point, and that's as simple as it gets. If 45.5 holds, then the bulls keep their complete control. So I'm going to put a little bit of my positions. Again, I already exited a third, but I'm going to put some more under that level to go a little bit more cash. And then I would redeploy that cash in 4-hour oversold conditions the next time Bitcoin gets there. So that's my game plan right now. Stop under that level for more of my swing position. Probably take it down to a half position. And we'll see how it plays out from here. This is definitely the time to be paying close attention over the next couple of days, because we're at a crossroads. We're either going to see bears, frustrated again and another move up, or we're going to see weekly consolidation starting to shape up and a shift in momentum and a loss of daily EMA 12 supports on some of these names. Establish your game plans. Again, it's not going to surprise us when we see weekly consolidation. We know it's due. Maybe we get another 10% up before it happens, but you need to know. And are you going to hold your bullish positions through weekly consolidation? Are you going to try and be cash before then? Are you going to try and be an aggressive bear and make entries for weekly consolidations? I don't like aggressive bear entries at this point, just because the bulls have been so strong. I guess at this point we have a double top with a clear resistance level to be going off of. But aggressive bears have been getting stopped out left and right over the last 3 weeks. So I would be watching, I mean, I assume most people are bullish overall at this point after the last few weeks. So the mindset that I'm in is what I'm assuming most people are in as far as, okay, how much position do I want to exit? Am I locking in profit? Am I holding through weekly consolidation? And all of the questions that the bulls are currently pondering. I did a live Q&A yesterday. Check it out on our YouTube page if you're interested. Fun answering a lot of more in-depth questions. I appreciate you watching. Do good things. And we'll check back in shortly and we'll have an answer. Bear break or bulls continuing to frustrate bears.